Surprise.
Wait, do I know you?
You use your Discover cashback card to earn 5% cashback on restaurants all quarter.
Yeah.
Now, it's payback time.
Whoa, hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, you mean my Discover cashback.
I told you there'd be payback.
You know, you have a weird way of delivering good news.
I'm working on that.
Activate and earn 5% cash back at different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases.
Terms apply. See discover.com/5 for details.
DJ PK, and we are joined by BYU's defensive coordinator. Kelly, do you look over your shoulder for someone when I say that? Are you used to that title?
No, I've always, like linebacker coach or defensive end coach, but man, when I said defensive coordinator, man, the little weight comes on your shoulders a little bit, but it's been fun. I keep saying it. I got great people around me. It makes the job way more manageable than I thought it would be, and it's been fun. I'm excited.
You're now the first-time defensive coordinator, but it's kind of like Scally up at Utah. You've been training for this for a long, long time. So how much does that give you a level of comfort that even though the title is new, you were special teams coordinator, and then you've been around both sides of the country, different places. Seems like you got a lot of experience as you assume this mantle.
Yeah, no, I've said this from day one. I look back to my playing career with Bronco and my coaching career with Bronco, and then on to Boise State, and then with Kalani the last 3 years, and Jay, I've learned a ton, and I've been well prepared, and I got good guys like that around me that have been and seen and done everything, and so having a guy like Coach Anderson around has been awesome, and learning from him. So to me, it's all about the people that you have around you, and obviously the experience helps, but there's a lot of other experience around us that I think prepares the whole staff to be ready for what's coming.
Yeah. When I hear people talk about this, and Cougar fans, a lot of them are like, Jay Hill was awesome. We're going to miss Jay Hill. And I think, well, that's true. Yeah. Jay was awesome. He had a great run at Weber State. He had a great, the last 2 years here have been awesome. But I keep thinking, because they're able to promote from within, you've literally had full access to Jay, everything he thought, why he did the things he did, why he regretted some of the things he did that he didn't do. It's kind of an unusual transformation here. It's not a lot of stuff has been lost. You were taking notes. You knew this day could come.
Oh, yeah, and Jay's awesome. I learned a ton from him in 3 years. He was a huge help for me on special teams, too, as well. Really good coach, really good person. I learned a lot from him as far as how to manage people, too, as well, how to manage players. He was exceptional at all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I've told this to everybody, Jay learned it from, at the same time Kalani was learning it. They both learned it from, Gary Anderson, who's in the building with us, and Gary learned it from Kyle Whittingham. And, there's this whole tree, and I feel like I have access to this whole tree. And, Jay and I still talk, and we were out golfing at this Pebble Beach deal, and we were, talking through stuff. And, we didn't sit back and watch, Self-Scout together. We watched it, while he's at Michigan and I was here. And it's funny, we had a lot of the same conclusions from what, could have been better from a year ago, and who played better than we thought, and who could have, maybe played a little bit better. But anyway, it was pretty interesting to just get that feedback when we'd been in separate rooms and kind of came down to the same ideas. But I just think ultimately, to have Kalani, to have Gary, to have DeMario Warren, to have Lewis Walker, all these guys have D-coordinator experience, and just to have all that around me, I just feel blessed to have a bunch of good people around me.
Okay, I don't want to talk football anymore. I want to talk Pebble Beach. You played Pebble Beach?
Yeah. Kalani, it's something that Lavelle, I think, started about 30 years ago. Oh. And, we were able, Kalani goes every year, so maybe you can get it in with Kalani right there. And a bunch of coaches from around the country go there. You get a foursome. Each coach gets a foursome, and you play 3 courses over a 3-day period. It's a pretty sweet deal, and you end with Pebble Beach on the last day. So, yeah, it was awesome.
All right. Just a little more football here, although we could talk Pebble Beach forever, because that's fairly nice perk, dude. Yeah, very good perk. Yeah. You mentioned DeMario Warren. Remember him at Southern Utah. Southern Utah has some advantages, but they also have a lot of disadvantages, a lot of hills to climb. His time there, they were right there with Jay, sharing Big Sky title, playing head-to-head in an NCAA playoff game, and they had tough times after he left. So what is the secret sauce he's got? He's clearly got something, because he outperformed what happened right before him, and he outperformed what happened right after him. That dude's got something. What are you seeing?
And there's a reason why I brought him here when I, was with him at Boise State. He did some awesome stuff at Boise State too as well. And very detailed coach, very smart, very intelligent. He's one of those guys that, I think he came from the offensive side. He was a running back, so he had to go through the grinder to be able to learn, what defensive football was all about, coaching the back end, and then becoming a coordinator under Ed Lamb, and then becoming the head coach and having a lot of success. And so I just think it kind of goes to that same mold I was in, but he was kind of under that Ed Lamb tree for a long time. He was at Southern Utah for 14 years. And so I just think that experience that he has as a coordinator, as a head coach, and then being able to see what he did as a position coach at Boise State, everywhere he's been, he's had results. And I know immediately when he stepped in the room and went through his first position meeting, the guy sat back and was like, they love Jay Hill, but, they listened to this guy talking, his knowledge of the game. I think they were all blown away, like, holy cow, this guy knows the game of football, and he knows coverages, he knows the back end. Not just that part, he knows the front end too as well, which is pretty, that's different for a back end coach to know a lot about the front end. So he's a super smart guy that I just think brings a lot of knowledge to the staff.
You left BYU, was it 2015?
2015 was our last year. 2016 was our first year at Virginia. Yep.
So at that time, I can remember talking to you about what you experienced in Virginia versus here in terms of resources. And you're a guy who speaks his mind, and you said, there's more resources over there than there was here, and you laid it out. Now that we're a decade later and we know what happened in December and more resources, just speak to the level of commitment financially and all the things that go into running a big-time program and what you've seen from BYU first time around to where it is now.
Yeah, all you got to do is walk into our weight room and see a complete remodel of our weight room. That's top of the line. This addition was done after Bronco left. And then you look at our nutrition center, we didn't have any of that when we were here before. So the access to the food that these guys have, the access to our sports science, that sports science department's as big as, anywhere in the country. We got Ohio State and other SEC schools, Big Ten schools coming after Skyler, our sports science guys. So, it's that part of it of just being able to take care of the players with their bodies, their nutrition. There's a sleep part of it too as well. It's not even close. It's night and day. It's honestly two different programs. You wouldn't be able to tell the two programs side by side. That's how different it is. And just the quality, nothing against the players in the past, but I would say the quantity of the quality, right, is a lot better than what it was. We're deeper and more talented than we've ever been. I think a lot has to do with going into the Big 12 and being able to recruit and have the finances to do all that. But I think they walk in here now and they're like, oh, these guys care about football. Look at their weight room. Look at the nutrition. Look at all just the access that the players have to a bunch of different resources. It's night and day from where we were, 10 years ago, independent with Bronco.
Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
And what about night and day from a year ago? Because obviously that process with Penn State, it was a lot of money, and it's not just about a salary for the head coach. It's not just about a salary for the assistants, the staff, everything. How does the program move forward because of the discussions that happened last December?
Yeah, obviously there was a lot of resources committed to Kalani, and there was, a lot of discussions there that, he wanted to make sure our players had. And ultimately for him, which I really respect about Kalani, a lot of it didn't come down to him. It was about what more could the staff have and what more could the players have. And it wasn't more for him. It was more for everybody else that he wanted, because he knows if the players are taken care of and if their bodies are right, mentally, physically, emotionally, academically, all that stuff, we're going to be a successful football team. And I've been able to see, what I've been able to see, honestly, in the last 6 to 8 months is that this team is, right now, we're bigger, faster, stronger than we were a year ago. And I thought last year was one of the fastest teams BYU's ever had. So I think we're a step ahead, and I think a lot has to do with the resources Kalani got for our team.
Do you guys talk about expectations much? Because obviously they're extremely high.
We call that, I think Nick Saban used to say rat poison, PK. Yeah, that's the rat poison on the outside. He said, that's just rat poison. But, there's expectations outside the building, but our players know what we want. Yeah, we know what we want, and we talk about it. But at the end of the day, it was a saying I actually got from Bronco all the time. He used to say, keep the end in mind of, like, why did we come out to practice today? Well, it's because what we want to have accomplished in December and January. Mm-hmm. And we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to go tell the world what we're all about. We can talk about it in our building, but that's the process, I think, of what Kalani talks about, being humble and hungry, and just going to work every day, and you chip away every single day, and that those goals that you set for yourself are going to come to fruition if you just stay the course.
we've been here so long, and we've seen so many people like yourself. We remember when you played, and we remember when you're a position coach, and then your career progresses. And so, of course, we're impartial journalists, but it's just more fun when the local teams win. Yeah. But we can't lie. There was a clear gap between Texas Tech and both the Utes and Cougars a year ago. When you say this team's bigger, stronger, and faster than a year ago, I hear that and think the gap is closing big time, or it's closed, or maybe they've surpassed them. Am I crazy? Am I up in the night? Before I go blathering away on the radio, do you want to say anything about that? Because that's right where my brain went.
Well, I just think, you have to play the games to obviously see that. But from my standpoint of just from our team, I don't know what they're doing, but I know from our team, we're bigger, faster, stronger, more experienced than we were a year ago. Obviously, having a quarterback that's more experienced helps us as well. And so I just look at that. I don't know if the gap's closed. Maybe they've gotten bigger, faster, stronger too as well, right? But I just feel from where we were a year ago, from our standpoint, I think we've closed the gap on that. And yeah, they're the standard right now. We got to catch those guys, and they're doing some great stuff. And hopefully we have a chance to play them. And if we do, they'll be in a championship game. That's when we'll play them, because we don't play them in the regular season. So I would like to experience that game to see if we've closed in the gap.
We've often heard over the years for BYU football and for others that were in the Mountain West and WAC that the starters were able to compete with just about anybody, but the depth really dropped off. And so what you're saying now, and answer this question then, that the depth now is something that I don't know if you're satisfied, but you're happy, whatever word you would use, as far as, because we know injuries are going to come.
Yeah. I was looking at our 3 deep today, and I'm just looking at linebackers now and trying to get these guys all reps in practice. And usually you don't worry about getting your 3s reps in practice. Those usually happen at the end of practice, usually, like we did today, have a set for the 3s. But now I'm trying to rotate my 3s in, because I think I don't want to say they're just as good as my starters, but they could go start for us and we would be just fine. And they have started for us. It's Ace Kafusi and Miles Hall. Those are our 3s right now, and those guys have both started games for us. And so to be in that position at the linebacker, and I think it's the same at D-line and DB and safety, I just think we're 3 deep, and all those guys could be starters for us.
Is that going to translate on special teams?
It should. I mean, I think the deeper your team is, the better you are on special teams. And that's why I think we've been really good on special teams the last 2 years. We were deep in those positions to where you didn't have to have your starters out there playing all the special teams. You still have them out there for 1 or 2 units, but that's where I credit our team over the last 2 years. We were deeper than I ever had been at BYU before in 24 and 25. And so I would believe it would go in that same direction as long as those guys are bought in, which I know Coach Anna will get those guys bought in to do it.
And so you mentioned, Coach Anna, you're not special teams coach anymore, coordinator. Are you going to be whispering in his ear, fake punt? What are you going to do?
I'll let him do whatever, because that was Kalani's he's pretty aggressive when it comes to that stuff. And so I'm excited about it, yeah. So I know Coach Anna, it's really just the mindset that we do as a team, so I'm sure we'll be ready for that stuff.
Yeah, but you can really green light it. When the defensive coordinator's like, we got this, go for it. If it works, great. If not, we'll clean it up. We got it.
That was what was great with Jay. Jay was always ready for it. He knew what we were going to do and always had the defense prepared, and we'll be the same way.
All right. Thanks for a few minutes. Congrats on the new gig, and congrats on the Pebble Beach stuff. Good work.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
The perks, PK. You really perked up at the thought of that perk. That was sweet.
Well, I know Kalani does that because he told me a story. He said, "Oh yeah, man, I'm on that first tee," and he's golfed more. This was going way back, and I was shaking, and I just topped the driver, and hit it about 150 yards, and then I took a 2-iron when no one was looking on the second shot, and I smoked it.
That is the nature of that sport.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was all nervous, and that's what you got there. But I think Kelly is ready to go. He's got the training. He acknowledges the mentors that he's had. And the funny thing is that he will always first go to Bronco. And Bronco, long since removed from BYU, but his influence is still at BYU. And Kelly Poppinga is a literal example. And Kyle, who has been 5 decades ago from BYU and wouldn't say their names, blah, 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 his influence is still there. Yeah. And Gary Anderson is there. We saw him yesterday walking around. And then I saw him later, and he went to the weight room. And, he still gives me a jab every time he sees me. Like he told Poppinga, be careful of this guy. That's what I think is so cool is that you've got these guys that have been trained here and they're around now training people. I think Gary basically he's, I think, a new title, special assistant to Kalani.
I think it's like head chief consultant to the head coach.
It's a fancy title because it's indicative of his influence that he has on his program.
But he might as well be the Godfather.
But he's not retired. He's not phasing out. He has influence. He's there, and that's a great sounding board. And because he's been there, done that, he's not looking to take anybody's job. And everybody knows there's no threat.
Right.
Of hey, if this doesn't work, this guy here, he's going to be no, not at all. That's just not going to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. He could have been a coordinator somewhere if he wanted to, but this is the position that he wants to be in, and he wants to help his guys. And his guy right off the bat was Kalani, and now his guy has been Kelly.
He has said that multiple times.
Yeah,
and he said it to multiple people multiple times.
Yeah.
And he said it.
Consultant to head coach / to senior defensive consultant.
That's a powerful statement.
It's a mouthful. Say that again.
Chief consultant to head coach / senior defensive consultant.
All right.
That's like Big Fred was the chief consultant to Kyle. From the great beyond, he was. And that we saw what the influence that is. And I Bronco told me this story. His brother played at BYU, played in the NFL, and was a defensive line who was a little bit bigger. I think his first name was Matt. And he told me that Matt said the best coach, now this is a guy who played in the NFL, the best coach he ever had was Big Fred. And that was when
then you
Kyle and Bronco are not exactly bosom buddies.
That was as fiery as the rivalry has ever been.
And so he said that. So that influence is still around. So I'm excited for Kelly because he's earned this spot. He could have stayed, well, I don't know if he could have, but maybe just stayed local. But no, he took his family all the way on the other side of the country. His in-laws, obviously his family's from Evanston, but his in-laws, I know that his in-laws live close to me, and he told me that, and I already knew it anyway. But all the way over, then comes all the way back, then gets back here. So this is a guy who's put in the time to have this position. He's earned the right to be the D coordinator. And Kalani said that he's never had a D coordinator work harder than Kelly. So I'm excited for him. And, I'll flat out tell you, I'm going to be rooting for him. Yeah.
Get in line.
Yeah. I covered the guy as a player. I was the beat writer for the Tribune when he was a starting linebacker. Back when that Bronco era there, where they seemed like they had a ton of great linebackers.
Because they did.
Yeah.
They did. They were really, really strong.
Yeah. Right.
They have been historically. I mean, that's always been a great position for them.
But that was...
Lavelle had great linebackers.
Yeah, they were really good then.
Kalani's had great linebackers.
Keel, Nixon, was it Buchwald, and then Kelly, and I'm sure there's other guys that if you told me those guys, Cam Jensen. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to name them all. There's no way I'll forget.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We've covered a lot of ground this morning. There's some NBA news, NFL news, big contracts being handed out. What has gone wrong with the Dodgers? We'll get to everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.